The term parasympathetic relationship is, in psychiatry, a term that means essentially to feel connected to and care about someone or something even when they have little connection to you, in a literal or physical sense. They are people, or characters, you can't help but connect to, even if you have little or no interaction to them at all. This channel so far has been a testament to how far I can push myself to put myself out into the world and try to connect with others, and the channel has centered around a medium that I've connected with, although that connection was at first one-sided. I've mentioned the show countless times, but I think that Lucky Star was the first show I watched before even in the 5th grade, and I felt like it gave me friends. Not that I didn't have real friends, I did, but it always felt like I had to try to be funny and put up faces in order to seem impressive or work my way up in their eyes, like a wrong joke, statement, or just luck would land me out of our friend group. And that's just how elementary school is, I think. Everyone is trying hard and no one is getting anywhere. So, feeling like I had these super knowledgeable older friends who could casually talk and joke about whatever they please with each other made me feel unbelievably comforted, that they could poke fun at or be honest with each other, and that was fine, because they were mature enough to deal with it and handle it and know that they cared with each other on a deeper level. So, to all of those aspects, I developed a parasympathetic relationship to them. I had this warm feeling that, I'll be honest, I still have now, about these characters, about these shows that I watched on my own, moving through these years. For me, Azumanga was one of the first I checked out after Lucky Star, because it had been a couple years since I saw my cousin, and I remember her eccentrically singing the opening in a way that someone only does in front of a child. And I was one. I was just a kid, and I knew much less than I do now, but in that simplicity, I feel like I understood more. As I grew up and took the typical and atypical currents that life throws a person's way, I found it harder and harder to put down my walls. Even when I felt like I was speaking honestly, and still do, I feel like in the back of my head that somehow I'm still failing to express myself how I'd want. At a constant inner conflict, unable to get anything straight, let alone know what the thing I'm trying to straighten out is. I'm the sort of person that growing up went through tons and tons of phases, constantly switching. You could almost be certain that my clothing would change every 6 months on a dime. This was before I felt confident in my own identity and who I am as a person, so I put it in arbitrary factors that had nothing to do with what I really am. I was putting my identity into how I look, how I talk, how tall I am, useless factors that I didn't choose and couldn't change. And so all that confusion in my own identity was dampened whenever I didn't have to participate. I didn't have to find my place in a situation, I could just be there and participate. In 5th grade, I watched this show called Today in Class 5-2. And I remember next to nothing about it, except that I was the age of the characters, and I could sit on the sidelines all while imagining myself as the characters or in their world with them. The first show I really connected to and remembered was Haruhi Suzumiya, a true classic, and rewatching it a year ago, I still believe it holds up. This show was the first one that made me more than a casual viewer. I felt sucked into it, and I really felt like Kyon, despite being only in 7th grade on my first watching. I thought how amazing and fun it would be to be in that setting with those people, and would dream of, or go outside and pretend to play with the characters, but the parasympathetic part of their relationship came to my awareness. Not in term name, but in feeling. None of those were real. I couldn't talk to them whenever I felt sad, but I could watch them. After I finished the series, they were gone. No new stories. I wanted friends I could trust, who would stick around, and while it felt like I could somehow enter this non-relationship and feel accepted in a group that didn't exist as a kid, the fact they didn't exist kept me from connecting in a way that a real relationship can. It just so happened that I met a couple friends in 7th grade that I'm still good friends with to this day, and while we can still tell each other anything, our interests most of the time couldn't be farther apart. So moving 9 hours away to college and still not having friends that had the same interests in you was disheartening. I, over the years, watched different YouTubers and people that I admired who covered all sorts of different topics and styles, and finally, last summer, I got sick of waiting to find a friend who temperamentally was similar to me. I got sick of feeling like I had no one to talk to, that I had no one to really talk to. So I saw all these YouTubers I liked, and I thought, how could I be friends with these people? How do I meet people like this? I want more than a parasympathetic relationship, so I made a YouTube channel, and months later, I have plenty. I found people who I can relate and connect to on an intimate level. I know I have people who I can talk to get me through things, or that I can help get through most the ways that I could want. I met a lot of people I wanted to, and for the people that I haven't, I will continue improving and posting and moving forward, because if you want your life to be better, you have to manifest it yourself, a little at a time. Thank you all for watching and commenting and giving me the overwhelming love that you have. It's hard to connect, but the reward for trying is more than enough.